Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, across all nations, races, and denominations, what is up? The Kingu of Lightning here today, bringing you guys and gals One Punch Man Episode 7 review. Now, I know you don't have to tell me I'm late. I get it. Oh my god, King of Lightning, I'm 3 weeks late, man. What the fuck? I know, okay? I'm trying to catch up here. I'm backlogged on a lot of stuff. So, I'm gonna have this out tonight because today I had a fairly busy day as always, but I can afford to do I think 1 or 2 videos tonight, and then I'll do as much as I can tomorrow, Saturday. So here's the thing, all right? When it comes to, well, first of all, if you haven't seen the live reaction for some odd reason, it's been a few weeks, but if you haven't seen it yet, there'll be a link in the box below as well as an annotation right here. Now, first of all, animation overall for the episode, I think is fairly fantastic as always. Well, there is one scene that was a little bit like out of the mold, and that was Saitama jumping up to punch the meteorite. That scene was very dynamic, but it wasn't really sharp. The scenes prior to that were actually fairly sharp. When you have Bullfoy fly in there for the first time, that was fairly sharp. When you have Genos actually take out his arms mode weapons that were created by that one doctor, I forgot his name was, but the doctor that took in Genos, what was his name? Yo, for a second, I thought about Dr. Wily, and I was like, no. Yo. But either way, all right, it was a cool scene with the arms mode, how he strapped him on there, lightning everywhere. It was really cool. And then, of course, you have the meteorite itself, how, like, the way it was coming into, like, you know, like, into the planet's atmosphere. That was awesome as shit. How Boyfriend does the attack, and how the clouds themselves, the smoke, just, like, disperses because of the meteorite's, you know, movement. It was awesome. So, animation overall was pretty damn good, as usual. Now, when it comes to pacing, it was honestly simple pacing, because more so it's episodic. You have one thread for the one episode. But the episode is not really pacing centered, but more so it's, I mean, you could argue that because it was half the episode, it was fast, but in comparison to the manga, it's not really, like, it's to be expected. Because there's not that much material within those chapters that you can stretch out for an entire episode. So it makes sense that it's like half the episode. Especially that one chapter, if you haven't read it yet. There's one chapter when Boyfriend comes in, like when he actually, when he first touches down, read that chapter and you'll see why, like, so many chapters constitute half the episode, and how they could not have possibly stretched it out to the full 24, 25 minutes. No way in hell. So pacing is, you know, it is what it is. Now, the main focus here is character introduction and character development. That's the main focus here. So when it comes to character introduction, first of all, you have, there was that one guy, tank top black hole, shitty, fuck him. But the main 2 characters that were introduced were Metal Knight and Silver Bang. So first of all, Metal Knight, Bullfoy. You can't really gauge that much about him from a character standpoint. Now, he is a very precautious man because he himself was not actually in the area, in the threat area. He was hidden away somewhere, and his drone was doing all the work for him. The drone that he built. So the fact that he built the drone, he's known for building, like, you know, robots. He's known for having, like, all this tech that can, like, destroy and, like, eviscerate creatures and whatnot. He is a fairly smart individual. And the reason why he's number 7 among the hero list is because of his intelligence and his ability to actually create and engineer these robots. And there's also something, I believe it was stated before, but I'm not going to say it because it will be stated later on in the series. But there's something else that he was that he's well known for. But I'll move on from there. Now, I would say that he is arrogant, and Bong explains how when it comes to some of these heroes, they are fairly cold-blooded. Some of them are. Some were too far away to actually come to the area. Some were busy doing other stuff, and then some just didn't care. Now, he kind of fits the last to a certain degree, because Even though he did come, he came through a drone, number one. And number two, he didn't want to cooperate with Genos to destroy the meteorite. He wanted to use his weapon solely and not have a collab attack, which I found fairly arrogant. Because I'm kind of like, and not even that, I mean, but arrogant I think is maybe the wrong word, but cold-blooded I think is more so the appropriate phrase. Because he's a hero, and if he is arrogant, we can't really tell based on that alone. But not assisting Genos is fairly cold-blooded. Because the folks that were in Z City were going to have their lives eviscerated by this meteorite. Though at the same time, maybe he was arrogant because he thought that he could take it on by himself. So, you can perceive it in many ways, but because we don't know that much about the guy in the first place, we can only go so far. Now, when it comes to Bang, Bang is basically like a Piccolo of One Punch Man. Making sure that Gohan is okay from afar, like some shit like that. Like when he's scoping out Saitama, watching him get newbie crushed and shit. You know, making sure that everything's okay. And I'm like, dude, like Bang is a very intriguing individual. Not only does he have that weird, like, mentor, guardian angel thing going on for him, like Piccolo, but also, he's cracking jokes in the midst of Genos' attack upon the meteorite, and I'm thinking, why are you cracking jokes, dude? Like, what the frick? Like, it was messed up. It was hilarious, but it was messed up. And when Genos says, "Oh man, run! You have 9 seconds. You know, get out of here," he doesn't do that. He just stands there, and like he makes a certain motion, like he was gonna do something, but in comes Saitama. So I'm thinking, did they subtly hint that Bang was gonna like stop or destroy the meteorite? Because the guy's number 3 amongst all the heroes in the association, and he is famous for his martial arts skill, the flowing water stream fist, something like that. And I'm sitting here like, maybe he could. Maybe Bang could destroy the meteorite. I mean, we haven't. Obviously, he hopped to the story. So, whether or not that's the case, we'll know once we find out more about Bang's combat ability in future episodes. But just keep that in mind, that when you watch the episode, he doesn't move. Like, he kind of actually does a weird flinch where it's almost as if like he was gonna do something. As if like he was gonna, you know, get ready to stop the meteorite. So, keep an eye out on Silverfang. Just keep one eye out. And that's really it when it comes to character introductions, for the most part. Again, you have guys like Tank Top, Black Hole, bullshit. But getting onto that, character development. This is more so for Genos. Now, Saitama does have his bit, where basically he explains to the crowd, because the newbie crushing fails completely. And he explains to the crowd, listen, alright, I'm doing this not for you fuckers. I'm doing this because I want to do this, alright? I don't care if you guys hate me or not, but I'm doing this because I want to, alright? It's about me. Fuck you, it's about me, okay? If you have a problem with your house being destroyed or your car being destroyed, don't blame me, blame the meteorite. I did what I had to do. Z City is saved, technically, because of me. I saved Z City and the surrounding cities. And you guys want to complain about your car? Come on now. Appreciate the fact that you're alive first. So that, I think, was like Saitama's message in a nutshell. So that, to me, I did enjoy, because that, I think, is outside the normal mold when it comes to being a hero. I mean, how many times have you heard, with great power comes great responsibility for the people, the people's champ. No. Screw that shit. Saitama, he's like, listen, man, it's about me, alright? I did this shit because I want to. If you hate me, boom. Boom. Alright? Don't come to me for your problems. And I'm like, okay, Saitama. Alright, dog. Alright? Sticking true to the whole being a hero for a hobby. Alright? Sticking true to that. However, the majority of the character development and characterization does go for Genos, in my personal opinion. Because it comes in a few stages, but the first one being at the beginning of the episode where Genos, he puts like these mental blocks on himself, these mental restraints, to where he won't fire at the meteorite because he's thinking about all these different outcomes. How much power he should use, how much time is remaining, if he can actually destroy it in the first place. If he can, what about the meteorite bringing it apart and wounding people around, in Z City, and so on and so forth. And out comes Bong to basically say, listen, you're thinking too much. Focus on the meteorite right now, give it your all. And then what happens afterwards, that's a whole different thing. Focus on the task at hand right now. And he's done it before, Genos, where he puts these mental blocks on himself. And this prevents him from getting the job done. So this, I think, is a definitive point when it comes to this characterization. That's number one. Number two is the further fortification of this disciple-master relationship between Saitama and Genos, where Genos lets it be known that he clearly reveres Saitama, obviously. And he understands that Saitama is someone who isn't going to cave in to like this newbie-crushing nonsense. But when he lets it be known that he does it for himself and how your problems are your own problems, he has to kind of look at it from a hero standpoint, and in a weird way from like a motherly standpoint, because he knows that this is gonna wind up not destroying, but it's gonna wind up hurting Saitama's reputation as a hero, and he knows that Saitama wants to be a hero. That's what he is. He's a hero, but Saitama does these things that are very anti-hero, and of course he's worried about that because this is his sensei. This is the person that he reveres, and when he sees that his sensei is being degraded in some way, shape, or form, he gets very angry about it. And we see it time and time again. And ultimately, what I think is Genos' fear, his main fear when it comes to this whole situation involving Saitama and how he perceives being a hero, which is different than the norm, obviously, and his anti-hero tendencies, is that Saitama is going to lose so much face in the eye of the populace that he will no longer be perceived as a hero, which may not necessarily hurt Saitama, but that will hurt Genos, because again, Genos reveres Saitama. He learns from Saitama. He is the second person to take in Genos after his family was wiped out by that rogue robot. And you can kind of see this emanate in Genos' physical reaction, to where you can see where he's very worried, and he tries to obviously make Saitama feel better by saying no matter what happens, I'm not gonna leave you. And Saitama's like, you don't have to do that shit, man. You don't do that shit. I'm good. But he's concerned. You can see in his eyes, and that concern is very it's disciple-ish, but also it's kind of motherly-ish. And this ties to one other point that I really want to make before the video ends. Basically, when it comes to their relationship, understand that a disciple normally trains under the master so the disciple can reach the same level of skill as the master and or surpass the master. That's normally how it works out. However, Saitama is so powerful, Genos can never see himself reaching that level of power. He can't ever see that happening. So when it comes to their relationship, he can't really have the ambition to surpass Saitama. So what takes the place of that ambition, I think, is him over worrying. It's not really a thing, but he's so worried about Saitama's future to where it seems as if it reminisces a mother worrying about her child's future. That's what it is. Normally, this concept is thrown at us in a gag form. So, for example, you have Genos. He's pissed off that he's really concerned that Saitama was given a C rating instead of an S rating. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go over to the association right now, and I'm going to talk to them. I'll make them change their minds. Just how a mother would go to her child's school and she would complain to the teacher or something about, you know, grades or classroom behavior, that kind of shit. It's that kind of shit that you see emanating from Genos, but in this case, it's not a gag. It's actually fairly serious. It's subtle, but it's serious. You can tell. So that's where I'm going with this. So, that being said, the episode overall I thought was fantastic. I'm going to give it a great, and I'm done. You know what? No, fuck that. I'm going to say amazing, because that meteorite punch just solidified, and it's still casual. Still casual as shit, like whatever, dog. That to me, oh yeah, like, that is the icing on the cake. So, it was amazing, and I'm done. So, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace. Have a nice goddamn day.